I know it was later, a little bit later on when you guys kind of joined together. What does your beginnings look like, I guess? Did you do the school route as well, or what, growing up, what was your?
Pretty similar to Kyle. Like, I started out not landscaping when I was quite his age. I mean, I always, like, between helping Dad, he'd bring me to his job sites, I'd go to Kyle's job sites. I was 10, 12 years old when Kyle started doing like Canada Blooms, the National Home Show. So like I'd skip out on school, I'd go and help him throughout that. And then it just sort of stuck with me. And I guess 6, 7 years ago, I was going to start my own company. And then me and him talked, and we both said, like, why don't we just team up? We can be a powerhouse if we team up rather than going on my own. Because if it's tough to find guys, that's the hardest part of the whole industry.
Yeah.
And any industry right now. So that was, I don't know, like, it's been good.
So you guys teamed up, and like there's always mixed things I hear, family business, this and that. And I'm sure you guys butt heads here and there, but how have you been able to work around that? And there's always some solution, or how has that been for your guys' relationship?
For us, it's been fairly good. Like, there's obviously difficult times, and the biggest thing is just when one person stops doing as much, the other needs to pick up the slack and go back and forth.
Right.
And if there is an argument or something, just forgive and forget. So many people hold on to arguments and don't let anything go. That's been one thing that Mom and Dad always taught us too, is when you're family, you need to learn to not hold everything in forever and just forget about it, because it's not something that you can change, and they're always going to be your family. So you can't just hold on to it and not talk to the person forever.
Yeah.
We'll get into an argument, and 5-10 minutes later, we're going out for lunch again.
Yeah.
Where we know a few people that we're in business with family, and they don't even talk anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what we try not to do. I mean, sometimes it's tough to sort of hold it all in and not say anything, but you learn that there's times that one person's always going to have to pick up the slack. It's like Kyle goes in for surgery Monday. I know I'm going to have to pick up on it. It is what it is. Once he's back, there will be something else that he ends up picking up on with me.
Yeah.
And that's just the way the cookie crumbles pretty well.
Right.
So that's the way we've sort of structured it in that sense.
Right on. In terms of the labor you mentioned, how hard it is to find labor, is that one of the driving factors behind the fleet of equipment and having equipment continuously running and being reliable? Is that
just through that door?
Is that the driving factor behind building that fleet up? And number one, but also number two, I want you to touch on the amount of work you guys do with so little guys. It blows my mind, if you don't mind touching on that.
Yeah, so like back 5-6 years ago, when it was starting to get tougher to get employees that were good, reliable, showed up every day and didn't call in sick, we started just go all out on equipment, make it as easy as possible for all the guys that work for us. And so we started out buying gas-powered wheelbarrows. That way guys didn't have to lug a wheelbarrow all day, 12 hours, because nobody enjoys doing that.
Yeah.
And as soon as we did that, we noticed all our employees started to work harder. They showed up more because they weren't sore the next day.
Right.
They could run that wheelbarrow all day, and it's like they were sitting on their couch.
Yeah.
And then from there on out, we just started to like add on different stuff like rototilts, grade control. That way, when we're digging a pool, we don't have anybody in the bottom of the pool shaping it. we don't have anybody in the bottom of the pool holding a laser stick. So you cut out all the labor there.
Right.
We're like digging a pool, you're 3.5 hours with 2 guys shaping it after it's all dug.
Yeah.
And that's just wasted labor. So now we have 2 guys that show up with a few trucks. We dig the pool. Lunchtime comes around, we set the panels when we're doing a pool. And then 3 o'clock, we have concrete show up, and we basically have a pool in every day ready for the next stages.
So you're able to do one a day with just a crew, 2 guys.
Yeah, so we got 2 guys that come first thing in the morning. Then we got like 2 to 3 triaxle dump trucks that show up at the same time.
Yeah.
So we'll dig the pool. Lunchtime rolls around, another crew, 3 guys will show up. We'll get the panels all set in 2-3 hours. Then right after that, the concrete truck starts showing up. Same thing, like we bought a concrete pump a few years back because it's just, then we don't need to worry about scheduling around somebody else and waiting
Right.
on somebody else.
Like an added
Yeah.
step to wait on.
Exactly, because I mean, it's tough organizing that amount of stuff. Where
Yeah.
if you can just have it show up when you need it, if it's sitting there an extra hour because concrete's late, you're not paying $300 an hour for that pump.
Right.
Just to sit there.
Right.
Or if the pump's late, you're not paying for the concrete truck. So it's just that added thing that makes it that much easier to sort of move on. And if we're an hour early for concrete, we can call them and be like, you can send a truck now, we're ready.
Yeah. Well, and you'd rather that opposed to them waiting.
Exactly.
And so how many of these do you have going on at the same time usually?
Usually we got 2 to 3 pools going in at similar times. All depends on like the size of the project, what's going on for the scope and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sometimes we'll do projects that are simple, that are just a pool with a like 3 feet of interlock around it and coping. Other times we're doing projects that are 800,000-900,000 that have 10,000 square feet of interlock, water features, fire
Yeah.
features, cabanas, and they take a month or longer.
So that's like quite a bit of moving parts with
Yeah.
having not only those massive jobs, but like
Yep.
the variance of the different types of jobs as well. And it's just someone's full-time job managing all of that, I'm
Yep.
sure. How do you guys, like what systems do you have in place to help yourself stay in order, manage those, and keep everything on time and,
Yep.
and on track?
So me and Kyle take care of all the quoting. And then we have an office lady. She takes care of ordering everything, making sure all the moving parts are staying and getting on site on time. She basically tells all the guys what they need each day or gives us a list of what we need after we discuss it. And to be honest, like we use QuickBooks Online,
Yeah.
so that gives us a lot of the stuff that we need, and it's easy for us to input all our numbers and whatnot. And then just like me and Kyle take care of a lot of this stuff over the winter.
So you have it all ready to fire come.
Yeah, we usually try and schedule our full season by like May 1st.
So that system that you guys do is like it really intrigues me on how you guys start quite a bit later, which already is a short season, and you start what in May?
Yeah, usually mid-April, beginning of May, we'll get
Mid-April,
fired
May.
up.
So you guys book your whole entire season before you even start. So slam out designs,
Yep.
projects, have everything lined up
Yep.
and going all the way. And you guys end even at a good time as well.
Yeah.
Which it's impressive how you guys are so profitable within that short amount of time
Yep.
because you're efficient, because you have the equipment, the systems,
Yep.
etc. What does that look like those few months prior to the season of you and Kyle just scrambling, or
So,
maybe it's
like-
not scrambling, but you're pumping
Yeah.
designs out your ass?
Exactly. Yeah, so like it's just, usually we'll have people start calling us like end of January, beginning of February to start designing projects and going over some site meets.
Yeah.
And so we'll start meeting up with people. And then how we usually work it for our design program, we usually charge $1,500 for the design. And that includes us doing as many changes as you need, so then you get exactly what you want. We usually ask budget. And we sort of just, like, we're just going nonstop at this time of year, trying to get ready for all our shows, schedule appointments, which that's our secretary, Christine. She takes care of a lot of the scheduling as well. So between having her, me, Kyle, we're organizing for home shows, we're organizing materials that are going to all the start of the season jobs. And it's just, we try to be as organized as possible because you have such a short season.
Yeah.
And that's why we stock so much material on site too. So like we usually stock 20 to 30 pool kits, all the equipment. We stock 30 to 40,000 square feet of interlock at all times pretty well. Natural stone coping in multiple different colors. And just keep up on our inventory, so then if there's a project that's starting, you have everything here. You basically give a PO to the guys, get this ready, get it loaded, and you're on the way once the season's ready to start. Rather than scrambling around trying to order materials from different places, that's done all over the winter.
Right. Well, and then staging materials is one thing too. Like, do you get it sent here? Do you coordinate it to get it sent to site? Like,
yep.
Interesting. So, in talk about, you guys are a dealer for, is it Rhinox?
Yeah, Rhinox.
Rhinox. So, what was the deciding factor behind that? Because I'm sure that limits, like the variables of what you actually can throw in the ground for clients, right?
Yep.
Like, are you guys just throwing in Rhinox, or?
We do some other materials as well. Like we use some Permacon products. A lot of our stuff is Rhinox though. And to be honest, the quality of Rhinox is next to none. We've never had an issue with it. If there's an issue with a stone, one year we had some stone that was cracking after the winter. We called our rep. He said, send some pictures. We sent him pictures. And he's like, yeah, sure. Like, we'll cover everything. Just send me the exact amount. I'm going to come out and take a peek as well and get some more measurements and whatnot. And then mind you, they never covered labor costs. That was on us, which shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Because
it was their fault, not ours. But they still covered replacing all the stone at least.
Right.
Which was a big thing. So, they've stuck behind us in that sense for the most part. They help us out huge for any of our home shows. They donate all the stone to us.
And what's, like, obviously savings, but
Yep.
the benefits of being the dealer compared to how most guys do it? Like,
so it just makes it so much easier because we always stock a ton of stone. That way we got multiple different colors of Rhinox.
But why not just call your supplier and order it right from them?
It just takes, throughout COVID, it was tough because you couldn't get material.
Right.
So trying to get stone, there was some times where you were waiting 3 to 6 months to get orders.
So you said to your supplier and went right to them?
Yeah, just went direct to them and started buying in bulk. And we already had that relationship and had started like becoming a distributor for Rhinox before then.
Right.
But we really started pushing it at that point because we just stocked so much of it, so there was never an issue with the supply and demand.
Yeah. So that's quite a foresight going into COVID.
Yeah.
I know you guys did what you did with your pool kits and ordered, what was it, almost $2 million worth of pools prior to COVID or going into it.
Yeah, going into it right at the beginning.
Like, I don't know how the hell you knew that. Everyone thought the world was going to end and there's going to be no work, but you guys said, f it, and ordered $2 million worth of pool kits.
You know what?
Like,
it was just the beginning of that year. Like, we had a shitty start to the season that year because we did the Canada Blooms display. We had we had a 3,500 square foot booth there, and it got shut down 4 hours to showtime. And then at that same time, as soon as COVID hit, we had a nightclub in Orangeville. We shut that down as soon as that hit, when our landlord said he wasn't going to do anything on the rent or anything or help cover any costs. And we knew COVID wasn't going to only last a few months like a lot of people thought. We said, like, it's going to be at least a year, so let's shut the club down. And then we were scrambling. We were scared shitless what the heck was going to go on at the beginning when that show got canceled and we shut down the club. And then not even, I guess, mid-May, beginning of June, everybody from not being able to leave their house just started going crazy, doing landscaping, pools, hot tubs, cabanas, and everything they could think of to do to their house.
Right.
Because they weren't going to be able to travel for so long. So as soon as we started hearing about this and we started getting more and more calls, we were like, this is the start of something big. I mean, it sucks we're taking a risk on buying this material, but we're going to use it eventually anyways. So if we use it now or 2 years down the line, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It sucked having to stock that amount because you have to pay out of pocket to buy it. But in the end, it ended up benefiting us because we had clients that would call us and they were asking, oh, my friend's pool builder said that he's delayed like 3 months because he can't get the pool kit or he can't get the interlock. And we'd say to them, yeah, no, we already have everything for your project. It's all on time already. Where everybody else.
So what, you'd throw 50 grand on their
yeah.
project and away you go?
Yeah, basically we take a 25% down payment before, like when we sign the project.
Yeah.
That money goes directly to buying materials or anything that we need for their project. If we end up being out of pocket a little bit, it is what it is. So it's a non-refundable deposit because we do it the way that we do it. But your project's almost always guaranteed to be on time unless you have a ton of rain. Right. That really affects us.
So talk about rain days and whether it's employees not showing up or whatnot. And
yeah.
I struggle with this, and how we do it is whether it's 20% or 15% schedule for buffer time, for whether it's rain days, equipment breakdowns, etc. You guys have your whole season set in stone. The very beginning. How do you schedule it out, and what do you tell clients?
So usually, we always tell our clients, like, you'll be within this season. We can't guarantee you a date. We usually tell them we'll let you know around 2 weeks in advance before we show up. That way you don't have a client down your throat every week saying, where are you? Why are you late? Yeah. But when we show up to a project, we're there to finish. We're not jumping onto another project. We're there till your project's finished, because we say it all the time. People get a sour taste in their mouth when someone's 2 or 3 weeks late to start a project, and then they're there for 2 days, and then they're gone to another project right after. Yeah. And it's happened to us before. That's why we used to have some subs that we used to use a little bit more, and we got rid of all our subs, so we're strictly everything in-house now, just so that we don't have to worry about relying on anybody else, because that's the hardest part. Yeah. Employees, you can base basically 10% not to show up at least every day because they're either sick or
don't want to work.
Yeah, they got every excuse in the book. Yeah. My dog's sick or whatever. Yeah. But we couldn't do any of this that we do now without employees, and all the employees that we have, they're all really awesome. They're all, we try to treat them like family, they treat us like family, and I don't know, you have to if you want to keep good employees around. You're always going to have employees, it's whether they're good employees or they're great employees or they're shit employees. And we always same thing with our guys. We tell them the same thing, that if you come to work with us, when we're like during the interview process, we'll ask them, we'll be like, so are you typically a happy person or easy to get along with? And if they're like in a shitty mood at the interview, we'll say, sorry, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because you have to enjoy what you're doing at work too.
Well, and that can't be taught, right? Like their
No.
personality or persona is that's the environment that
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
works up. Like you wake up and you go to work, you're there more than you're with your family every week, right?
That's exactly it.
So, having that good environment and
Yep.
skill can always be taught, but not
Yep.
so much who the person is.
Exactly.
So, many guys in the industry struggle with like keeping guys on board all year round, and you guys especially with your short season. Not only affording to, sure, in a perfect world, you throw everyone on salary and away you go, but how do you guys balance that with minimal work but keeping your guys on board?
So we got a few guys that stay on year round. They're based on salary. And then a lot of our guys end up either going to work for another buddy of ours that does plowing or just relaxing over the winter and traveling because they work so hard in the summer that they can afford to do that.
Right.
When we're working 70 and 80-hour weeks throughout the summer, they're banking some of their hours so that they can put it away to be able to enjoy their winter rather than have to work.
So is that how you try to structure it? Pay out
Yeah.
like whatever 40, 50 a week, and then the rest gets...
Most times, like a lot of our guys are pretty good. Some of them will do that with. Some of them they'll just put the money away because they've been in the industry long enough
Yeah.
that they understand. Sure, the money might be good, but we only have 6 months to work. So I got to put money away so then,
Yeah.
because I don't want to work in the winter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for the most part, a lot of our guys, like I was saying, like we got 4 or 5 guys that are on salary throughout the winter. They do a decent amount, but a lot of it's helping out get ready for the spring, keeping equipment and getting all the maintenance ready, like all done and ready. Because you don't want to have to do that in the spring when you're getting started.
Yeah.
This is our off season. You got to take the time now to do it and be prepared because it's hectic when the season actually gets going.
100%.
We got another 3 weeks essentially till we start our home show setup. Really 2 weeks till we actually start getting everything out of the shop and ready to go again because we got the home shows coming up.
Then right after that, you're
right
cranking.
after that, it's basically guys start going out to do cleanups and same thing. Like we usually stop by all our clients' houses that we did work the previous year and just make sure everything's good. There's nothing that needs touch-ups.
Right.
Because, face it, we all know that there's going to be shit that goes wrong the first year. No matter how perfect you are, there's always going to be a stone that cracks when you do the amount of work that we're doing.
Right.
So we just go through, we send a few guys to different sites the first few weeks of the year. And that sort of helps get guys to know each other again, learn any new faces that are with us before we actually get started on hammering down on a lot of the projects.
Yeah. Right on. Good. And in terms of marketing, your guys' look is super flashy and definitely recognizable. Where does that come from? Number one, the look, but also what's your biggest lead driver? What keeps you guys going?
To be honest, we started wrapping everything maybe 6-7 years ago completely. All our skid steers, excavators, gas-powered wheelbarrows, everything.
Well, and then you got the rock lights on a few of your floats.
And we went to look at a cat skid steer. It was up in Aurelia, and the deal just seemed too good to be true. And so I was driving the machine up to like another area to load it up, and Kyle called the number that was on the side of the machine. He asked him if we were there to buy his machine. And he said, no, that machine's supposed to be at Walmart in Aurelia. So that guy comes rushing over, the police get called, and we find out the machine was stolen. And we would have never known that if that guy never had a phone number and logos on his equipment. And with the amount of thefts going on in Canada now, between trucks, trailers, equipment, we were like, you know what, it's cheap security because nobody's going to touch, or it's a big deterrent that anybody's going to touch something with logos on it, because like we've had a few guys that have borrowed one of our trailers on a weekend or something, and we'll have friends that are in the city or anywhere along our road where we live. They'll literally call us within 3 minutes and say, why is your truck or trailer going down the road with a truck that's not yours?
Different truck, yeah.
And so that's one big thing why we wrapped our equipment. But then all it takes is one lead to pay for the wraps.
All of it, yeah.
I mean, that being said, it's a big expense when you're wrapping every piece of equipment, for sure.
And did you do it all at once?
Majority of it was done at once. And then as we just kept continuing to upgrade everything, we just kept wrapping it as soon as we bought the piece of equipment or truck. And another thing too, like, it saves the equipment.
Yeah.
Like,
so when you go to sell it, you take it all off and it's
it
brand
looks
new.
brand new. So I mean, just the resale that you make back on that pays for the wrap alone.
Yeah.
So I mean, just there, the extra that you'll sell it for will literally cover the cost of the wrap, and then it's free advertising. It's a rolling billboard, and everybody knows it's your company. Just a logo on the side of a vehicle, I find people will forget it. But if they remember a brand,
The whole
look,
yeah.
then they're never going to forget it. It's going to be ingrained in their head. So that's why we all our equipment, trailers, it's on site in different neighborhoods every day, all summer. And the amount of people that see it, that's probably our number one
lead source,
to be honest. And then referrals.
Yeah.
Referrals are a big one too. I'm going to say probably 70% of our leads are referral based. Just because you give them the service that they pay for.
And then it just keeps going.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like, people will call us, and I mean, our wives get pissed at us all the time because we're on our phone so much, especially throughout the summer. But it's like, that's how we got to where we are today, is by giving quality service. And when somebody calls you, you answer the phone. I don't care if it's at 8 o'clock at night, I'm at dinner.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm answering the phone because they're paying for what they're getting.
Yeah. Interesting. So your my question for you is the flashy look. Yep. The Lambos, the nice cars, landscaper pulling up for the initial site visit or the quote.
Yep.
That first impression sometimes could be misinterpreted.
So,
where's your guys' head at with that?
We'll get, you know what? A lot of the clients that we do work with drive similar vehicles to us. And then same as a lot of people, like, their kids will come running out and they'll be like,
It's the car.
holy shit, Mom, Dad, this landscaper's got a Lambo here or a McLaren. Like, and we'll take them for a ride in the Lambo or whatever. And some people will get the impression that you're just too expensive. Others understand that, like, you work hard for what you get.
Yeah.
And we've never been afraid to drive them just because of thinking it's going to ruin an impression.
Well, even the guys too. Like.
Yep.
What?
So some guys, like, they understand it. They know that you work hard. And a lot of times, like throughout the summer, we'll take our guys out on the boat and just to do stuff, just like as team building.
It's a business expense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because you need that team building to keep all the guys together too, and to sort of give back to them, make them feel like they're family rather than just an employee.
Right.
Because like I said, you're spending more time with your guys in the summer than you are your family.
Yeah.
So I mean, we live out of town a lot in RVs and stuff and hotels throughout the season because we travel a lot for where some of our projects are. And that's where like we'll usually leave Sunday night, come back Friday afternoon, and that's where like sometimes when we're working on Muskoka, we'll bring the boat down there, and then 7 o'clock hits or 6 o'clock hits, we'll take the guys out for a bit and go surfing, and then they're not jealous because they feel like they're
part
together
of it.
with you and they're part of the experience and
Yeah.
they're part of the growth, not just somebody that just works to make you money.
Right.
And that's where we've always said, like, I want everybody that works for us to come to the top too.
Everyone to win, right?
Yeah, I don't want to just be the one that makes all the money. I want all my guys to be comfortable and enjoy coming to work, not stress about coming to work.
Right.
That's number one, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do it, no matter how much equipment we have for the scale that we are.
So the team building, I like how you touch on that, like how important that is what we found is huge. But finding the balance of like, listen, we're here to work, we're here to get shit done, we're here to be profitable, we're here to bang out all these pools or whatever it is. But you could have a team event every morning until noon, and it'd be a great environment.
Exactly.
You wouldn't make any money.
No, exactly.
Right? So where do you guys draw that line of, listen, we're here to hammer down, but we can have some fun.
Usually, like the odd weekend or the odd Friday, we'll tell everybody like we're taking off early to go do something and enjoy the day. Especially after like, say we've had a few weeks of like solid weeks.
Yeah.
We'll just say like, let's enjoy the Friday, take off early.
Yeah.
And most of our guys are pretty good in that sense. They get it and they know like when they're off the clock, you're friends.
Yeah.
When you're at work, you're an employee. That's the way we try to keep it, because once you become too good of buddies with all your employees, they don't respect you.
Yeah.
They don't care about you, and you get taken advantage of. We've had it happen so many times in the past, and that's what we try to avoid now, because they see what you have and they think that that everything just got handed to you sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they don't see the late nights, they don't see if you had a shitty year or you never got paid for a job. They don't see you in your bed crying because you still need to pay them.
Yeah.
That's, if we don't get paid, our employees still get paid. All our subs still get paid. Anybody that we owe money to gets paid. I won't eat
until everyone else
until everybody else eats.
You carry everyone on your back.
That's
right?
exactly it. So I mean, that's one thing about being in business that's tough. And same thing, like our wives don't see it. They think that everything's just easy go, and every job just gets handed to you and you're not struggling, and you're not stressed out. But this industry and any business in general isn't for the weak.
It's part of the game, right?
It's part of the game. You gotta have a good mind to be able to be in it, because there's struggles. There's times that it sucks. There's times that it's good. And same thing, like we've had guys that have came to work for us and they say, oh, I'm gonna go be self-employed so that I can choose my own hours.
Only lasts a few months.
Exactly. You're never gonna choose your own hours when you're self-employed.
It's either you work 24/7 or you clock in and out with someone else.
That's it. And I mean, you're never gonna build an umpire if you just want to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
To be straight up, I don't know. I enjoy it. I couldn't deal with sitting around 24/7. And
When you learn to love it, I'm sure, right? Like,
yeah.
And we're at that stage, like, that, yeah, the growing pains are there, and that's
Yeah.
all part of it. But once you learn to love that and, like, listen, this is what we strive for and what we need, we're getting tested to get taken to the next step. And you keep going. It's stepping stones. And without all this shitty stuff that's happening, you're never going to get to that next.
Yeah, every time that you fail, it's something new that you learn.
Yeah.
So we always look at that. Like, we're not afraid to fail.
When having that perspective too, and opposed to just throwing it behind you, shrugging a shoulder at it, like, listen, let's analyze this. What actually happened? Let's dive deep. Maybe this install.
How do we make it better
wrong.
next time?
And next time, what are we going to change? And building your environment around that, I'm sure, is quite important too. The guys as well. What actually are we going to change? Opposed to just, that was a fuck up. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah, and like, that's what we say all the time is, if you're willing to fail, you're willing to succeed as well, because every 10 fails, there's one time that you're going to win. Maybe there may be 5 times that you win.
Yeah.
But you got to be ready for failure, and you can't just take that and say, all right, I'm done. I'm never doing anything again.
But is it a failure? Or from those failures, you learn how to get to the success,
exactly.
Right? Like those three lessons, you know, is what it takes.
Yeah, that's what it takes to get there.
So.
And that's what we've found. So, I don't know. There's no right or wrong way.
You eat shit regardless.
That's it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and
move on.
You take the good with the bad.
Yeah. So landscaping, you guys have, one thing Kyle mentioned, and before we wrap this up, he wants to be the best at whatever he does. And that's the same with you as well, and the family. And you guys have done this with UPLP. But I want your thoughts on the comment, spreading yourself too thin. And you guys run multiple empires, multiple that are very, very successful. Where do you draw that line, and how do you balance that out on giving your time and energy and your family and everything else, right?
Family and whatnot, like, we try and spend as much time on weekends as possible throughout the summer. Winters, we spend as much time. Like, I just got back from Florida. I was down there for a month and a half with my wife and 2 kids. So we try and enjoy that. Summertime, we don't see our families near as much. That's like, we're lucky to see them Saturday and Sunday for the most part, which sucks because you miss a lot of the stuff as the kids are growing up and whatnot. But honestly, like, there's no point that you can really stop at, I find. If you're driven to succeed, you're always going to be looking at the next goal, the next step, the next spot that you want to be. And you may say, like, okay, I want to get to this point. You get to that point, and then it's like, all right, well, what's next? This means nothing now.
But that's a scary spot to be in when you're always looking for the next.
That's the problem.
And if you just start loving, I know it's cliche, but like the journey of actually what you're doing day to day, and like this is going to take me way further than just my goal or the destination. But you guys have started, what is it? You do the spray foam, metal buildings, online marketing, like what?
Yeah, so like we have the marketing company that sort of came on to help take some stress off of me and Kyle as well. We opened that up because we have in-house photographers, in-house editors, people that take care of all the postings.
So you had it already, so you said
so we figured, why not open something else that can succeed and pay us back for the advertising that we're already doing, rather than just paying these people and they only take care of our stuff. Then we can help other people out too, because we built this brand, so we can do it 100 times over now. And then same as we opened the spray foam company, because a lot of our hot tubs and whatnot and steel buildings that we build, a lot of people are spray foaming them now, and we figured like we've spray foamed a lot of our own projects in the past.
Yeah.
As it is, so we figured same thing, like why not open another business that can keep a few more of our guys busy over the winter. That way they're not worried about finding work come winter, and they stay busy year round.
Right.
And then we also have hardscapesupply.ca as well, which that's just, we distribute diamond blades for saws, string lines, geotextile fabrics, geogrid, natural stone coping.
And is that online, or you run it out of the yard here?
Yeah, so we're just basically the distributor for that. So we got our products in some of the places around Ontario right now. It's not huge right now, but it's currently growing pretty good. I think Stoneman's Valley, Weston Garden Centers has our product, and a bunch of other places. I think Peel Landscape as well. So I mean, we're just continuing to look to grow, and we try to cut our costs on anything that we can.
Right. So was that the driver behind that, or were you just fed up with getting shitty blades?
You know what? Between getting shitty blades and paying huge for them,
Right.
we tried to get a blade, to come out with a blade that was more reasonable than the COVID priced blades that are coming here now that suck. And so far, everybody that's using our blade loves them. So our guys, they'll usually go through one blade a month approximately, and that's doing 10 to 12,000 linear feet of concrete cutting. So it's, I don't know, like I said, we try to create the best stuff possible and be comparable to everybody else or better. So same thing with our diamond blades. They're better than almost any other blade on the market right now, but we tried to keep our price lower.
Yeah.
So that we can help out our dealers that are selling the product so that they can make a little bit more, as well as any customers buying the product so that they save a little bit of money as well. Because let's face it, a lot of the suppliers throughout COVID, they raised the prices through the roof because of shipping prices on everything, and they still haven't come down.
Yeah. Well, they're only going up.
Yeah, exactly. And like the price of containers to come in from India, China, anywhere in the world went up to like $20,000 a container throughout COVID, and now they're back down to $3,000. Well, that savings should get presented to everybody else too. Yeah. It shouldn't just stay up at that same rate, because that's just, I mean, to me, it's price gouging.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they have the opportunity there to keep raising. Like I know Techo Block, they increased their prices this year, 5%. So anyways, I think they're just taking advantage where they can, to be honest, at this point, because there's no reason, like you said, everything is slowly settling down. But but I mean, it definitely won't go back to prices pre-pandemic. Definitely not. Definitely
Which is
not.
crazy, like.
But vehicle prices, while we're on that topic, like that, it's slowly starting to get reasonable. But, anyways, Cody, I do appreciate the chat. It's awesome being able to pick your guys' brain. Like what you've built is so impressive, and for guys to look up to it as well. Hopefully, we're able to take some stuff away from this. And
for sure, and anytime that you want to talk, then we're open.
Yeah, where can they find you guys? You have quite a big following. Instagram there, TikTok,
Instagram,
where else?
Facebook, TikTok. All our vehicles are wrapped, so pretty well anywhere down the road.
Awesome. UPLP Group. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you. Have a good day.
That was awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.